All right, welcome back, everyone. We have a special treat for you today. Our commentators are facing off. Soko, myself versus Alex B, who I also have on the mic. I'm playing Sultai Constrictor featuring Hadana's Climb. Really cool build. I was inspired by the GP Memphis results. And tell me a little bit about your deck, Alex.
Yeah, it's a blue-white vampire deck. This is the one you've seen on screen once before. I played it against Anthony Marino and lost. So here I am against you, Sako. This is the same build as before. I haven't changed a single card from it. It's mostly a mono-white deck. It's got basically just a ladder of the best vampires at 1, 2, 3, including Maverick Fane, and then also Oketra's Monument to make them cheaper. Just, you flood the board with tokens, you go on a big, wide Alpha Strike, and you play blue, you splash blue to draw some extra cards, have some counter magic in there.
Nice. So he gets a pretty good start off. He's able to peck through a bit of damage, and I even have to burn myself here to get my black mana source. I pop the snake on the field, hoping that's going to be enough to kind of egg him from sneaking more damage through, but a Danto Vanguard is going to be strong enough to kill the snake on block.
This is the best 1-2 start I can have with this deck, as long as my plan is to just go fast aggro.
Yeah, man. A Danto Vanguard is quite the troublesome card, especially in the decks that use the auras or anything along those lines. He's just a hard target to deal with, being as they can just pay 4 to keep him on board.
And there's a turn 3 Legion Conquistador. Not the best turn 3 play, but still a good one.
Yeah, man. Card advantage from Legion Conquistador is amazing, and it even becomes more powerful when paired with Oketra's Monument, and that's when he becomes a 2-drop, and he gives you another creature on the board. You can go from, like...
Yeah, a very common line of play with this deck is turn 3 Oketra's Monument, turn 4 double Conquistador, and you still have the 2 remaining in hand.
Yeah, oof, and the 2 tokens spawn off that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, if I can get enough board presence up, I can sit back and wait. I don't have my Hadana's Climb yet, but hopefully I'll draw it and I'll be able to peck over his army of dudes. I put out the Jadelight Ranger, and this is where I think I find... No, I find one land and a Fatal Push, which I tuck back on top of my deck from Jadelight Ranger's Explore trigger.
Yeah, I remember looking at this Jadelight Ranger getting very nervous, thinking, oh no, here comes a 6-5. That's going to be very hard to deal with, because suddenly a Danto Vanguard doesn't look so great. But at only a 4-3... I say only a 4-3 as if that's not also good. At least a Danto Vanguard can still swing in for some more chip damage.
Yeah. Still looking for that monument. Don't think he finds it.
Oh, I think I just drew it that turn, actually.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so this is a pretty interesting match from my perspective. I was having a hard time figuring out how to actually get damage through, because the pressure you put up on board pretty much tells me if I want to swing at all, I'm going to take a lot of damage the next turn if I don't have anyone to block with.
This is the optimal time of the game to cast Legion's Landing, actually. You don't necessarily want it on turn 1. You want it often when you can guarantee a triple swing. Now, this is a very dangerous triple swing. I'm okay with losing both the Sky Marcher and the Legion Conquistador here if I can get some more mana out of it. The Danto Vanguard is going to survive no matter what you do, but I can at least, make you think twice, like, okay, maybe there's a Pride of Conquerors sitting in my hand.
Truly. I think, if I'm not mistaken, you're going to opt to swing out to get that card transformed ASAP, right?
Not this turn.
Oh, no, never mind.
This turn I just go for the Legion Conquistador.
Yet again saying...
Or with the Danto Vanguard, excuse me.
Brandon pretty much telling me, I will happily pay 4 life to kill either of your creatures right now, if you want to.
My name's Alex, by the way.
What did I say, Adam?
You said Brandon.
Oh, I thought Brandon, my bad.
Yeah, it's okay. And a second Danto Vanguard. So now the pressure is going to be ramped up. So now I have 2 creatures that can fearlessly swing in, and I'm willing to lose any of the others. Probably going to end up swinging with the token, though, assuming the token lives. I can't remember exactly what happens here, but yes, I did miss my 4th land drop. So I'm just like, okay, I'm going to run out this Legion's Landing. And then hope it, hope it turns into something good.
Alright, I dropped my Bristling Hydra. Gonna be another card, hopefully to dissuade him from attacking on me. But we'll come to see soon. Once he gets to Ascend, he's gonna be able to fly over my head.
That's 4 energy you got, by the way, because the Constrictor adds an extra.
Gotta love the little bonuses from the Snake. Great addition to the energy decks. I love them in there.
And here we go. Now I top deck land number 4. It's a Shevet Dunes. So I can't activate it this turn, but that Shevet Dunes did give me the City's Blessing. Very important. So now my Sky Marcher Aspirant can fly. So now that's the safest swing as far as the 3rd creature goes. Bristling Hydra, however, going to be able to safely block one of the Adanto Vanguards,
Yeah, only if I decide to pay the energy, though.
which I'm totally okay with.
So here is where I think that you're going to go ahead and get your Legion's Landing flipped.
Yeah, this is probably the turn where it happens. The previous turn I wasn't willing to do it. This, I think, is the turn. I am taking a while to decide, though, because I do have several lines of play in hand, several options. I did see Ixalan's Binding. I think I was thinking about casting that on something. And here I go, coming in with everything except that Lonely Legion Conquistador. That will immediately flip it onto...
So I don't feel like I can gain too much value from this, but he is willing to trade me some of his creatures now to potentially to flip his land over and accelerate and mana ramp himself to 5.
Blocks here are going to be a little tricky. Skyrush Raspberry can't be blocked. I think I'm just going to go ahead and let one of the Adanto Vanguards die, because I know I'm not going to get a favorable trade. So, oh wait, no, I did pay the 4 for that. And the Jade-Light Ranger just blocked the Lonely Token so I could gain 1 life back. That was the only reason I swung with it, is because I'm like, well, he's not coming aggressively at me, so I'm just going to use this token, just crashing on the rocks, get a blocker out of the way, and gain 1 life.
I don't know if that mattered, but I think I just saw a misplay on us. Isn't that...
I don't think that was a misplay at all.
No, but I think I had to pay the energy there to survive that block.
Oh yeah, you know what?
And I totally didn't.
And you totally didn't, yeah. I actually should have called that out.
Yeah,
Because
well,
I think it was because in both of our heads we were assuming you were going to do it.
Yeah.
And then you just never actually did it.
we'll see if that actually plays a role in the rest of this game. I'm not sure how much more energy I'm going to accrue.
I don't think so, because you're already way down. You're already at 6 life. The early Adanto Vanguard chip damage doing a lot of work, and then that last combat was just brutal.
Yeah, well, if you are sitting on an Ixalan's Binding, then it does kind of make a bit of a difference here, because I won't be able to make my Bristling Hydra hexproof. Alright, so I get a 3/3 Ballista for 2, which is always nice. The Snake and the Ballista are best friends. Here in my head I'm thinking, okay, I can kind of do some crazy ping action here, make him pay a lot of life and try to equalize this. And a line of play that I didn't even think about in my head at this point in time is, if I go to blast a Adanto Vanguard and you pay 4 life, I can then blast him again and put my ability on the stack, right?
Yes, and actually you do this once this game.
And
this
force
match.
you to
It might be this game where it happens.
And force you to pay again before.
Yeah, it would force me to pay again before if I wanted to keep it alive. And in fact, I think that's what you're doing right now, is you're trying to zap it, and I'm like, no, pay 4. And then you're going to be like, in response, zap it again, and I'll be like, okay, that's fine.
No, see, I think I only do... Oh,
Yeah, you are doing that, and I'm like, all right. See, I told you that you did think of that line of
All
play.
right, I thought I didn't know. It really only came to my head after the match, but okay.
Yeah. I was actually quite relieved that you pointed those arrows at one of the Vanguards and not my Flyers, because at that point in my head I was thinking, after you dropped that Walking Whistle, like, oh no, my Flyers are going to go down, because you had just enough counters to kill them both.
Yeah, it might have been a better idea to do that here.
I think you should have. I think that may have been a misplay on your part, was going aggressively after the Vanguard, which I'm totally okay with you wasting 2 counters to do that, even if it cost me 4 life.
In my head here, I'm thinking I'll chump block something and then pop the Sky Marcher with the Ballista, but I think you decide just to swing with Flyers for almost the rest of the game here.
Almost the rest of the game, I think, because there's really no point in crashing a Adanto Vanguard in when all your creatures have 2 high toughness. That Bristling Hydra right now should be a 6/5. Mm-hmm. We just kind of skipped over it.
Now, I do know I have the Blossoming Defense in hand, so I'm a little safe from any of your removal options. So.
Yeah, this is the part where I decide, okay, I have to drop Ixalan's Binding here and see what he does. And then you're going to show me the Blossoming Defense, which means my ground creatures are definitely staying at home. Oh wait, no, I tapped out for Azor. Or no, not Azor, Double Conquistador.
Azor, awesome piece of tech in that deck.
Yeah. Actually, I can't even cast Azor here because I only have the 1 blue source.
Alright, coming at me in the air, I decide to Desperation ping the Sky Marcher.
Not exactly a desperation move, it's what I expected you were going to do.
Much rather would have keep that ballista, try to garnish more value off it by giving it 2 counters every turn for 4 mana thanks to the snake.
I think the only reason you were okay with it is because you knew you had another ballista coming up.
It's true.
So, like, here comes another one that's going to be for 4, which is even more dangerous, infinitely more dangerous than 1 for 3.
I really thought I was going to be able to swing back here and kind of clear up the board, but your presence just keeps growing and growing and growing and makes my creatures just have to sit there and just look at yours. I don't think I get to swing and attack at you almost this entire game.
I'm pretty sure I still have an Ixalan's Binding in hand, too. I just decided not to play it that turn because I thought going wide would be better, but then you drop out a second Walking Ballista, and suddenly that plan doesn't look so good. And now that Cloud Blazer is looking like a dead girl flying, as opposed to a dead man walking.
I decide to go for more ping shenanigans.
Yeah, just going after the Adanto Vanguard again, and I'm like, do I want to pay the 4 life, or am I okay just letting him go? Because now the decision becomes a little difficult. When I'm close to 20 life, it's real easy to make. When I'm at 15 and you're staring me down with very big creatures like this, the calculus gets a little tougher, but I decided to just go ahead and go for it because I've got legions of chump blockers anyway. See if you do it again in response or if you just give it up.
Thinking and hoping and wishing and praying. I am just banking on drawing into Hadana's Climb here. My whole idea was like, if I can get him to pay enough with the Adanto Vanguard, I will be able to just one-punch him with Hadana's Climb if I top deck it.
Which is why I'm surprised you didn't go ahead and just remove the second counter to finish off that Vanguard or force me to go to 7, because you would still be left with 2 counters left to kill the Cloud Laser, and you can just block everything else on the table.
Yeah, that's true.
I was very, very surprised at that. That may have been another misplay. Here I go with another land. I'm flooding out here, but I don't particularly mind that because I do want to crack the Shepherdunes at some point. This just might not be the turn to do it. Even though you are at 4, that Cloud Blazer is going to end up dead.
We're both hard in thought here. There's a lot of math that goes on in a battle like this with 2 creature decks facing off.
Now, we've barely pointed out the fact that your only black source at this time was that If Near Deadlands.
Truly.
So
I don't need it for much in the deck. I mean, I have the Fatal Push, which you already know about from earlier, which I can't play now.
Okay, here we go. This is when I launched the Ixalan's Binding. I was waiting for you to tap out to do it. And I just went ahead and went after your Ballista to make you use it immediately. I'm explaining to you here that if you do it in response, Ixalan's Binding sits on the table and does nothing. So down goes the Cloud Blazer.
Yeah, and enchantments like that, even when they fizzle, they're going to sit on the field, so you will still be able to get to Ascend using them. Luckily, this game you already had it, but just a tip for everyone out there.
And again, you tried to shoot down the Adanto Vanguard, and again, I paid 4 life into it. And now here's the part where I'm starting to think maybe that was a mistake. But having more blockers is kind of important here, and I'm just going to run out that final Conquistador.
Squad.
The whole squad's on the table. But that Vanguard going to have to stay at home. It cannot attack in safely to that board.
Alright. I'm like, did I get it?
Hashep Oasis, yeah. That's very good, but it's better when you have some form of evasion. Right now, I'm just thanking my lucky stars you don't have a Verdurous Gearhulk or something with trample.
Yeah, that would be bad. I think my hand right now consists of a Fatal Push, a Blossoming Defense, and a Servant of the Conduit, which I think I'm about to run out onto the field right now.
Just to get that extra energy, maybe.
Yeah, and another body to block. I'm like on the skin of my teeth in trouble here.
So far, that mistake with the non-energy payment before has not actually been relevant, and I don't think it will be by the time the game ends.
Yeah. Do you think maybe it would have been a target for Ixalan's Binding there if I had no energy, though? Would you have gone after that, or Ballista was posing too much of a threat?
I think I would have still gone after the Ballista.
I see.
I mean, the
So
The temptation to get rid of a Bristling Hydra when you can't give it hexproof is really high, but at the end of the day, it's still just a big dumb guy that doesn't have any form of evasion unless you have the Hadana's Climb. And by the time you play the Hadana's Climb, it's going to be too late anyway. So
Truly. So I was contemplating activating If Near Deadlands there to try to get some, either the Adanto Vanguard or one of your Conquistadors off the battlefield.
I don't know why you'd be contemplating that because you can't actually do that right now. It's
Oh yeah,
still
you're
your only
right, I
black
had no
source.
mana. Well, I will... No, I won't even be able to do it next turn, even with Servant of the Conduit's mana ability.
I think you have an Ether Hub coming up, though. We're not supposed to know that. You're not supposed to know that. You didn't know that at the time. But if my memory serves correctly, you do find an Ether Hub here. I am sorry if I am drinking too loudly on this microphone.
Oh, no worries. Slizzer.
Sipping on some of that Mountain Dew. Gotta wake up. It's the day after daylight savings began. Statistically, a day where people are very, very tired. We need our caffeine fix.
Truly. I certainly do. It's nice, though, it's not getting dark so early. People are still shuffling in for the Modern tournament this evening while the lights are still up.
Yeah, we're actually recording this at 7:30, right before the beginning of the Modern Monday event, which...
Yeah, we need to hurry if we both wish to participate.
I might not. I mean, I did just put my Ponza deck back together, and I want to play it, but at the same time, I'm having too much fun with this.
Yeah, and I'm running Merfolk tonight, if I end up playing. We shall see. This is kind of a bit of a long match here, I think we were both maybe feeling a little nervous knowing that this exact commentation scenario was going to happen.
There's a second Ixalan's Binding, and I think I just go ahead and take out the Jade Light Ranger. But you've got the Blossoming Defense.
Man, I've had one for each of them. Pretty lucky. I'm only running 2 copies of Blossoming Defense.
No, the other one's just sitting there because it was on a walking ballista. I was forcing you to pay it early.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only reason I did it. I've got enough mana to activate a Danto. Okay, this is the really grindy part of this game. Is where I just start leveraging a Danto because I've got no other gas coming. And I have to hope you don't top deck Hadana's Climb.
Yeah, really, that would end the game right now if I draw it.
That's why I went after the Jade Light Rangers, because it already had counters.
Mm-hmm. The only one. Alright, got Hootie Hoo doing a weird dance trying to distract us from the game right now.
We're just big trolls here. Soko living dangerously, going to 3 so that he can get that Glint Sleeve Siphoner out there, try and get to that Hadana's Climb.
It ain't coming. Sometimes you want to run 4, but the fact that it's a legendary card, it just gets so clunky.
Yeah, there's only 3 elves of all the legendaries in this deck, even the ones that are like engines. Like both of the legendaries in this deck are engines. Azor is a 2 of, not a 3. But he costs 6, to be fair. I still wouldn't be able to cast him here. I still only have the 1 blue source, but it doesn't matter.
This was such a tense match, man. We're both just sitting here figuring out if we can afford to swing anything at all.
This first game lasted forever.
It felt like it. I don't even think it was that long. It was only like a 20-minute match, I think. It did feel like forever. Time was slowed down a bit, though.
I felt it was closer to 25 or 30.
You might be right.
I don't know. Viewers, you figure it out. Tell us the timestamp. Leave a comment. Another land. This is a bad, bad time to flood out. I don't want a Danto being the only thing giving me gas.
Well, at least you can easily get those dunes running and buff your board, but
yeah,
you just pass.
I was hoping you wouldn't notice that, because at this point I'm like, well, if I'm going to draw this many lands, my plan might as well be to crack double dunes and just go for it.
Double dunes.
Especially with you at 3, which means you can't let any creature through. There's the Verdur's Gear Hole.
Here comes the Gear Hole. Finally pulling something off the top of my deck that's a little useful here.
And I'm like, uh-oh. Now he's got multiple things with counters, and finally a thing with trample.
Yeah.
This might have been another misplay on your part, which we recognized at the time, because...
I even think about it right here. This is me. Oh, wait a second. Maybe I need to just go all in on Gear Hulk's trample. I have the Hash Hope Oasis sitting in the back, so next turn I could potentially have a 12-12 with trample coming at you, which is going to force you to stack block in order not to lose the game. And that might be all I need to get the momentum back and finally be able to swing with all my creatures.
But instead you go ahead and distribute the counters as wide as possible. And that may have been a mistake, even though the Glint Sleeve Siphoner has Menace, which is another form of evasion, and it's helpful for sure, but at only a 4-3, it'll only be able to... Well, it'll be able to kill both of the things that block it, actually, yeah. Because that's 4 power, not 4 toughness.
I'm also not quite sure why I just don't swing out right here.
I was totally expecting you to. I was secretly shaking. I think it's because you noticed the Adanto there, and you were thinking, all right, obviously a Vampire token is coming out. And I've got chump blockers for days, but you're also at 3 life. That's something to keep in mind. Okay, so here comes another Vampire token.
Do I just swing, though? I'm trying to figure this out.
Well, the Verdur's Gear Hole can't swing. Glint Sleeve Siphoner would have to be double blocked, which I'm just going to go ahead and take that damage because I'm at 7 and I can afford to do so. The rest would have to be chump blocked. You would be left with just Gear Hulk. And I don't know if that's a fatal push in your hand, but if it is, you would have to go to 2.
Yeah, it is a fatal push.
Okay, so you would have to go to 2 to play that. but would I have enough creatures still to get through?
I decided to take the passive route. I'm not exactly sure why.
Yeah, I think you may have just handed this particular game to me. And there's Martyr of Dusk. Very, very good on defense. Replaces itself with another vampire token.
Oh, it's also the fact that you had the lifelink blockers that kind of made me say to myself, I probably can't kill him this turn.
Yeah. I only had the one at the time, but you were noticing the Adanto, and you were noticing I was starting to just reach for Adanto every turn, going tap, make a token, tap, make a token. In a grinding situation like this is where Legion's Landing really pays off.
Truly, you get a lot of value from some of these flip lands.
Yeah, I've heard people. There's been some discourse about Vance's blasting cannons in mono red, for example. That card's actually really good.
Yeah, against control matchups too. You can kind of put a clock on them a little bit.
That's kind of what it's for. Any match where you have to either outgrind or just find some form of card advantage. Vance's blasting cannons. I'm telling you, it's great. Flips over into a land that does 3 damage, a guaranteed 3 damage every turn.
Yeah, and I guess I was just kind of conditioned into passivity this match, fearing your board state.
We've played against each other too much, that's the problem. You've also seen this vampire deck go off before.
Oh yeah.
You know it can come from out of nowhere and just kill you. So if you fail to kill me on any Alpha Strike, you are so dead.
So here comes the Aether Hub. This is where I keep thinking to myself, alright, this is my last turn of the game. I probably should have done this last turn. I'm just swinging all out, I'm pretty sure here.
And here's another misplay. You could have drawn a card off of the Glid Sleeve Siphoner.
Yeah, truly gone down to 1 and see if I got it honest time. But
I've gone to 2.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I checked after the match, and it was just another land on top of my deck.
Oh, okay, that's right, yeah. Because, yeah, you did check after the match, and it was just... So it didn't matter. So both misplays didn't matter. The one that may have mattered was the one the previous turn where maybe you don't swing in, and, like, because there's some math involved with the lifelink tokens, and
Yeah,
you
it
get a
was
little
just, I
confusing.
guess I wasn't really willing to be that risky. But sometimes risk versus reward, you have to go for some plays. Especially, I really against his deck, I can't let him go this wide. It just should have occurred to me that the swinging in probably was the best option.
I mean, over the course of a few turns, you basically did 12 damage to me just by forcing me to keep one of my Adanto Vanguards alive.
Yeah, did all this damage without even attacking, I believe, once this whole game.
I think maybe you attacked once? I can't even remember anymore.
Pretty sure I didn't. So here I decided to crack the Hatshep Oasis, kind of like a last-minute desperation play. I ran the math quickly in my head, and I figured, unless he severely misplays here, I'm just going to lose. So I'm just going to town. I'm going to Fatal Push one of his life linkers here.
But I've got another one coming, so it's just going to be a temporary stopgap measure.
Yeah, because he has enough just to bring a fresh one back out, which he's about to do.
Yeah, I'm about to do it, and then I'm going to be like, wait a minute, did I misblock here? Oh, wait, no, I didn't. I forgot about the lifelink. As I assign blockers, and I'm like, wait a minute, do I have to? Wait, no, but the blocks I have are good. I'm going to live. Because the way I'm assigning blockers right now, I even say this to him out loud because I know he has no cards in hand. I double-check that he has no cards in hand, so I'm like, okay, so I'm virtually at 9 life. So I have to just avoid dying to this Verdurous Gearhulk, and I think I just let the Gearhulk through. I can't remember for sure, but it probably... No, actually, no, I think I just chump block it with the Martyr of Dusk. So, because right now it's what, a 9/9? Yeah, so I chump block it with the Martyr of Dusk.
It's just a 6/6 right now. Oh, no, 6/9, yeah.
Yeah, the Hatshep Oasis. So it's a 9/9 right now. So I think Martyr of Dusk gets underneath it, and that will deal 8 damage to me, but because of lifelink I go to 1, and I'm not dead. So now it's just a matter of assigning enough blockers to stay alive and have something alive to kill you next turn. Because everything except my tokens has 2 or more power.
Yeah, this is the point where I realize I'm doomed.
Yeah, there were several plays here where, I'm sorry, they were just kind of like suboptimal. You were just trying to force it to end, and I think maybe if you had loaded all up on that Verdurous Gearhulk earlier and like cracked the Hatshep Oasis, made it a 12/12, I think that may have brought you a much better board state. And there's all the blocks, and Adanto Vanguard staying at home. He's still alive. So we're calculating damage here, and this is the part where I realize, wait a minute, did I block wrong? Because I'm about to, pick up
We're
my
like,
cards.
where's the lifelink?
I'm, looking around, I'm like, wait a minute, no, we're good. The lifelink tokens.
Perfect, yep, so we +2 up, and that brings you down. To 1 life to come and win the game next turn.
The Dato Vanguard swinging on his own. He did so much work this game. Or she did. Excuse me.
Alright, well, I'm trying to think if I don't think I even have much in my sideboard to help with this match. Besides, I run only 2 Fatal Push in the main board, and I bring, I think, all 4 copies in against you.
Fatal Push is going to touch quite a few creatures, but not all of them. It does force me to make some awkward life payments to keep the Dato Vanguard alive. But
I can. I like hitting a Martyr of Dust, making sure you don't get. Oh, you do get the token when I kill a Martyr of Dust,
Yeah.
right? And then I guess just paying life with the Dante Vanguard is something that's helpful.
I'm actually wondering if you bring in any of your artifact and enchantment hate here, just for the Ixalan's Bindings and the Oketra's Monuments.
All I've got is the Thrashing Brontodon, and I honestly didn't foresee it being too helpful, but
I think it would be helpful in this matchup, again, because of the Ixalan's Bindings and the
that's true.
Oketra's Monuments. The artifacts and enchantments in this deck are actually very, very good targets for Brontodon.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just stick to the 2 Fatal Push.
Look at me reaching immediately for that River's Rebuke, thinking you're going to get that play off on you.
Oh man, that would be spicy. That would be real sad.
Any matchup where Azor is really bad, I bring in the River's Rebuke. Because if I can stall out to 6 mana and just wipe someone's field and then go to town and win,
Yeah,
it's great.
It's usually a good game. Although we did have that one match where you rebuked Marino, brought him to 1 life, and somehow the student runs it back.
Yeah, he found that top deck Liliana, and that's what won him the game.
That card. Nice, man. This was such a good tournament run for you. This is we already did the grand finals match, I think, and have that uploaded, if I'm not mistaken.
Not yet. That's
no, we haven't?
that's the one that comes after this.
Oh, nice. That's next, everybody. Well, spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert, I kicked Soko's butt. Let's find out how.
Yes, let's find out how. Trying to eliminate some clunky draws here with the pile shuffle before the game. Pretty smart idea to do this, everybody. Otherwise your lands and doubles end up sticking together in awkward packs.
It happens quite often with these really grindy matchups where you have all your lands on one side of the table and all your regular cards on the other side of the table. You have to separate those pockets before you get to your regular match shuffle. I realize that statistically that shouldn't happen, that those pockets shouldn't happen, but they do because people get kind of lazy about their shuffling.
Nice,
And
yes.
I know I do. I don't like to shuffle a lot. This is part of why I don't play that much Modern anymore. Because of all the shuffling, because there's fetch lands in almost every deck.
Shuffling.
Why do I like humans? No shuffling.
No shuffling.
No fetch lands. I just play cards and go and attack.
Okay, I'm on the Merfolk kick too, so I only have 2 Misty Rainforest, so I gotta shuffle a little, but hardly.
See? You know what it's about. You're all about that Botanical Sanctum and Mutavault life. And basic islands.
Nice. So in my head this time I'm thinking, okay, pretty much we're gonna have a grindy matchup, just how these decks kind of run. Unless he somehow really blows me out early game with a monument or something, I'm gonna be able to stabilize in the middle of the match and dissuade him from attacking. So I really want a Glint Sleeve Siphoner like ASAP to garner as much advantage and draw into the cards I need to win this match.
And immediately I don't like my hand.
Send it back.
Send it back. I'm okay with that. I'm on the draw. I'm
And
okay
I
with
hit that card I so desperately wanted. I got a Blooming Marsh, and I have a Glint Sleeve Siphoner, so turn 2, he's going to be live. Looks like I did have 2 Servant of the Conduit, which is going to keep feeding me the energy I need to draw and draw and draw. So, thinking about Dominaria coming up, do you feel like there are any cool cards that are going to be impactful in your build that are going to be in the next set?
Don't lie to me and pretend like you don't know. Don't lie to me and pretend like you don't know cards like Tetsuko Umezawa and that triple white, everything gets +1/+1 creature don't exist, because they totally do.
Yeah, Lord of All Lantis.
Yeah.
And what's the Tetsuko one? I actually am not familiar with that card.
She's a 1/3 for 2 that says creatures you control, attacking creatures you control with power or toughness 1 or less can't be blocked.
Oh yeah, that card is insane. That card truly is insane.
A
Like
bit-
Skymarker, for instance, even without flying, now is completely unblockable.
A bit of a non-bow with Sheffic Dunes, to be fair, but if I'm just trying to get through that early chip damage, why not?
Yeah, truly. I actually think there's another decent like one-drop instant that just gives all creatures you control +1/+1 or something. It's like an instant. I thought that might be pretty good for you as well.
Ooh, if that exists, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Oh, and then of course there's that one enchantment that's kind of like Stasis Snare or Cast Out, except it only hits tapped creatures, but it costs 2.
So here, I think to his surprise, I offer up my Servant of the Conduit to block and just try to make sure he can't chip me, because I felt like that was my downfall last night. I let too much damage by early on, and that really took away my options for being offensive in the middle of the match.
Meanwhile, I'm okay trading an Aspirant for a Servant, especially if I've got a backup Aspirant coming up. If it stops him from getting that turn 3 Bristling Hydra, I'm all in. I'm okay with that. With Glacial Fortress coming down as my 3rd land, so now I've got 2 of each color. 3 mana total. Come on, block with that Glint Sleeve.
Oh, no, not this time.
It's only the best creature in Standard, come on!
Bob Jr. And I'm going to get my extra draws in. Or am I?
Nope, Blossoming Defense. I'm like, alright, I had to try.
The Thopter, you do have to go for that.
I did every play I possibly could to get rid of that Glint Sleeve Siphoner, and you were just like, no, I'm not falling for it. I've got the answers.
And so the players, this is why I didn't run a Glint Sleeve out turn 1. I knew I had the Blossoming Defense to protect it, and also if you have Servant in your hand, it kind of is better to play Servant first, because your Glint Sleeve isn't going to be live to draw the first turn you play it anyway if you have had no other source of energy.
And with Attune with Ether banned in Standard now, that's not going to be very easy to come by. You have to have an Ether Hub as either your first 2 lands in order to manufacture that play, and then not use it for the black required to cast Glint Sleeve in the first place.
And so now my board's looking nice. I have a huge stockpile of energy. I let the Snake come in before Servant of the Conduit just so I can get some extra tasty energy here. And always wait to play your Aether Hub until after the Snake hits the field. Remember, everybody.
Always, always, always.
I'm feeling pretty good about this match so far. We'll see if I continue to do so, or if he has some more removal, Ixalan's bindings, things like that hurt my feelings.
This was a misplay on my part. I should have absolutely gone after the Glint Sleeve Siphoner, but I went ahead and went after the Constrictor because I was fearing some large creatures coming down, and I was just not finding any gas.
Gear Hulk is live next turn.
I was just not finding any gas, so I wanted to get rid of the biggest problem for Sky Marcher here, because I'm not getting to the City's Blessing anytime soon. And here you realize that, just go ahead and offer up the Servant. I don't need any other creatures, I'm just going to ride this Glint Sleeve Siphoner to victory.
Yep. So I go ahead and get my double draw on. Insanely powerful. Looks like I got a Bristling Hydra here in hand. We'll see if I opt to play it. Just going to go ahead and go 2. Snake is gone, so I sadly only get 1 measly energy.
Yeah, but you banked so much energy from the plays off the Snake before, it doesn't even matter. And there's Jade Light.
Cool, now here. Draw an Aether Hub off it. I'm just trying to put a Hadana's Climb back on top of my deck if I can find it, but looks like I get double land.
Yeah, I think it was Aether Hub Forest that you found.
That kind of is a bummer, but at the same time, you can't be too upset about it, because now you get to skip through 2 dead land top decks that you don't need.
Oh yeah, this is one of the reasons why Jade Light Ranger is a great card, because the worst thing that can happen is that you get 2 lands. Okay, so there's Legion Conquistador. So I've got some breathing room now. I've got some things to block any other creatures that show up. Unfortunately, the Glint Sleeve Siphoner does have Menace, so getting enough creatures out there to trade with her is going to take some time.
Well, the card advantage coming from the Neo Squadron Hawk.
And me with no Oketra's Monument in either of the games so far. I like that card so much better when it costs 2 than when it costs 3. But
For real.
I'm just going to have to play with the cards I'm dealt, and that's what I'm doing. At the very least, Glint Sleeve's not doing that much damage to me.
Yeah, now I'm kind of, I can attack with my creatures, but I'm sure you're happy to trade away one of your Adopted Vanguard, especially when there are more to come.
Yeah, I'm happy to trade. I'm absolutely happy to trade Conquistador with that small Jade Light Ranger. I'm okay with that. I think you just go ahead and swing with just the Glint Sleeve Siphoner here for that reason. Unless you got some other play. If there's a Vertus Gearhole coming down, then you don't have to fear anything. Tap out.
Oh, yeah.
What's it gonna be? Oh yeah, Walking Ballista. Okay.
3/3 Ballista.
So just zap the blocker, still have Ballista up.
Yeah, I want to go fast. I want to get damage through, and quickly.
Yeah, you hadn't been getting that much damage to you before, but with that Ballista, that's going to change. especially if you find another Constrictor. I don't see it in hand. I see a Bristling Hydra, though.
Thought about dropping the Hydra that turn, but I just wanted to get as much damage in as fast as possible.
Yeah, the Ballista's one of the best ways to do that. Here comes another Sky Marcher. And then another Conquistador. Does that give me the City's Blessing? No, I'm one shy. I'm at 9 permanents. But two things to note here. Even if the Sky Marcher is removed, I can still get the City's Blessing through Arch Haraska, which you have no way to interact with outside of, like, Field of Ruin, perhaps? I don't know if you're running that.
No Field of Ruin in my build.
Okay, so you have no way of interacting with the Arch. And then I do have 2 blockers here, so I'm forcing Walking Ballista to have to make some kind of play in order to make the pathway for Woodsleeve Cypher safe. And yes, you are totally willing to add that extra counter to get rid of the Sky Marcher Aspirant and still leave Walking Ballista alive. Conquistador standing alone as my only defense.
Alright, and the hustle and bustle you're going to hear on mic is for the first round of our Modern Tournament, getting ready to pop off, calling some rounds to get some more great content ready for you tonight after we're finished with this commentary.
Yeah, after we finish with this match and the finals from FNM, we're going to be using the machine to stream some Modern content. So
Yeah, we'll definitely get the Grand Finals match and probably a round or 2 before that as well.
back to the most popular format in Magic. Outside of Commander, at least.
Oh yeah, do you think Commander's the most popular?
I think it is. Like, well, okay. If I'm being completely honest, kitchen table Magic, like formatless Magic, is the most popular.
That's probably right.
But Commander is like a more organized form of kitchen table Magic. So
So the Thopter Arrest comes out there and says, "You're not drawing any more cards. I'm sick and tired of this."
yeah, and this is the part where I admitted to you out loud. Okay, I should have done this a long time ago with that Ixalan's Binding. I made a complete mistake going after the snake before, but maybe it wasn't a mistake because that Walking Ballista would have been a lot scarier. That's a lot of mana you're gathering.
Oh yeah, tons. I have not been having mana problems in any of these matches, but still drawing a bit more than I would like to.
Jade Light Ranger is absolutely helping with that, and then another Walking Ballista. This one for 3.
No, that's 8
Oh,
mana.
4.
Dude.
For
Freaking
4.
8 mana, guys.
Yeah, and I'm just scooping them up like, yeah, I've got nothing for that Ballista.
Anything that comes in his deck pretty much gets grounded dust right away.
So it's 1-1.
Alright. Still did not, neither of us seeing our deck's signature cards. No Hadana's Climb for me, no Oketra's Monument from you.
Not even Maverick Fane for me. I've got 2 engines, and I'm not finding any copies of either one.
That's crazy. And there are 3 Maverick Fanes, right?
Yep, 3 of each.
Alright, you hear it out. There may be a case to playing 4 legendaries, people.
Assuming variance is as hairy for you as it is for us.
No, if we played 4, we would draw 3 in our opening hand every game.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly how it would be for us.
Sometimes that happens to me with Legion Conquistador, and it feels so bad. Like, finding 2 isn't that bad, but finding 3 is just absolutely terrible.
Alright, well, I don't think either of us changed our sideboarding ideas there. Did you do something?
I believe I exchanged out the negates that I brought in because I was fearing more removal than I was threats, and then I brought back my Pride of Conquerors and I think one of the Ixalan's Bindings that I boarded out. I think it might have been one Ixalan's Binding that I boarded out.
Pride of Conquerors, that's a great card, and it's kind of one I think most people don't know about, and especially don't expect because of that reason. Can you refresh me on what it does? I know it's a buff spell for all your creatures.
It's a 2-mana instant, 1 and a white, that gives all creatures you control +1/+1, and gives you the City's Blessing if you don't have it yet. Assuming you control 10 permanents, of course.
Cool.
And if you do have the City's Blessing, they get +2/+2 until end of turn instead.
See, that's pretty strong, especially in that deck. If you would have got that in that last game that we had, that would have been in trouble.
That one turn
The
late
game
Sky
one.
Marcher Aspirant, that's always a pain. Like, oh, thanks for showing up on my top deck instead of my opening hand. If you were 1 card higher up, you would be great right now.
Alright, so I'm showing my hand. I have double snake, so I run out that snake first, and I'm like, if he arrests it, he arrests it. What do I gotta do?
Listen, I have to get the blocker out of the way. 3 toughness is nothing to sneeze at.
Yep, so I go and I play out the next snake.
And then Ether Hub for 2 energy.
Now, still don't have Hadana's Climb in hand. I know I have a Fatal Push, a Verdurous Gear Hulk, and I think 2 Bristling Hydras. Blossoming Defense as well. So I'm pretty happy I have enough mana here to protect my snake, just in case you do decide to go for a Binding or another Thopter Arrest.
I think I have a Binding in hand, and I'm deciding whether to play my untapped land and play it now, or just run out my irrigated farmland and set up for Cloud Blazer next turn. Because I do have a Cloud Blazer.
Yeah, Cloud Blazer is a great card. Any creature that when you play it says draw cards, usually pretty good.
And here I decided to just lay out the farmland, play a second Sky Marcher, and hope you don't have the Ballista. Because a Ballista for 2 here will become a Ballista for 3, and will pop both Sky Marchers and live. Which would be very bad news for me.
I really needed to find another mana here. Pretty badly, especially when I'm sitting with a 4 and a 5 drop in my hand.
Attack with a snake? Yeah, I'll let it through. And a third snake, I'm like,
Triple
wow.
snake. I pulled the third snake off the top of my deck there.
This is actually making me very glad that I aggressively Thopter Arrested that first one, because 1 snake I can play around, 2 snakes are difficult to play around, 3 snakes are backbreaking. But if you don't have that, yeah, there's the first of many, I'm going to punch you hands. Alright, just Windmill Slam this Cloud Blazer, like that's fine, I'll peel off the snake damage and get some more gas.
Yeah, the below-the-waist AOK symbol has become a bit of a mimetic gesture around here for kind of lousy plays.
Thanks, Geo. This is entirely your fault, Geo.
It definitely originated in that little clique of guys, Geo, Fuller, one of those two.
It's like our Wonder Twin powers activate kind of symbol.
So here I pull the J-Light Ranger off the top of my deck, and I'm kind of happy. I'm like, please show me some lands here. I need another land. First card's a Ballista, I believe.
I think you keep this Ballista on top and then you bury it the second time just to assure that this J-Light Ranger becomes a huge.
Huge, extra fat. The double snakes triggering, both of them triggering twice because of the way the double explore works.
Technically not a triggered ability, but yeah, that's 6+1/+1 counters going on this one J-Light Ranger, and I'm like, okay, I've got to play some removal here right now. I've got the Ixalan's Binding already. Let's just take care of that problem and make sure you can't play any more J-Light Rangers.
Wah, wah, wah.
Just immediately slam, like, no, you don't get to have creatures that big, ever.
This is where I feel a little bad about not throwing away the Ballista the first time.
And by the way, that Ixalan's Binding gave me the City's Blessing. I have exactly 10 now. Actually, wait, no, it gave me 11. So I had the City's Blessing as soon as I played the land.
Cool. Wanted the land. I wanted the land again, but even if I did throw away the Ballista, I would have just hit a Glint Sleeve Siphoner, which would have been tough for me to throw away. So I get 3 energy from playing it there, thanks to the double snake action. And I'm coming at you. I'm like, I gotta try.
The free chip damage. Never ignore it. Never ignore an opportunity to get in free chip damage.
There was actually, I think I had another turn where I should have swung with one of these snakes this game, and I totally didn't earlier on in the match. But it's not.
I don't think so. I think you were okay. I think maybe you were afraid of double blocks. I don't know.
The turn I played the snake number 2, I should have attacked with snake number 1. I didn't.
You dared me to double block. I think you did at one point anyway. There's that late Oketra's Monument. I finally find it, but better late than never. I think this is where Mavrin Fane shows up. Yeah, so I got both of my engines now. I'm getting a Warrior token, and I'm going to get a Vampire token as soon as the Sky Marcher aspirants come to town and swing.
This is where I'm feeling pretty sad about what's going on, especially sitting on only 3 mana. I have 2 dead Bristling Hydras and a dead Verdurous Gearhulk in my hand.
And 6 power worth of flyers, so I have Death on board now. In addition to the tokens I just generated. But you're going to go ahead and Fatal Push one of the Sky Marchers while you've got the chance. So now it's a 2-turn clock, not a 1-turn clock.
So I'm still in good shape. Like, if I draw Hadana's Climb here, it's going to be active right away. I won't be able to use its ability, but because of the double snake situation, I'm going to end up getting quite a bit of counters. I think, what is that, 4 counters, or 3 counters?
3 counters, yeah. That's exactly what you need to flip over the Hadana's Climb.
But here I draw a tap land, Fetid Pools to add insult to injury.
It's just fearlessly paying life into the Glint Sleeve Siphoner, even as you're sitting at single digits.
Had to.
Because you need to get to this 4th mana. You're sitting on those double Bristling Hydras as well. Can't even find a Servant of the Conduit. Even that would have given you some breathing room.
And I do have the Climb.
Okay.
Finally, Glint Sleeve pulls me the Climb, but is it too little too late?
So here we go. Enter combat. 3+1/+1 counters on something. No matter what it is, that Hadana's Climb is going to flip over into the Winged Temple. So in my head, I'm already thinking I have to win next turn because if I don't, he's going to have enough mana to just kill me outright.
Yeah. Well, I think actually the snake would only become a 12/12. No,
I don't think you put it on the
10/10.
snake. I think you put it on the Gwinsleeve Siphoner, which is
yeah.
smart because it already has menace. So now I have to block with 2 flyers.
We could
Hey, little guys. We have kids frolicking about in the commentation room.
Yeah.
Gotta love it. NeverBoard gaming community is a place for family, friends, everybody. If you got a kid of your own, feel free to bring him in and play some video games while you're playing Magic.
People of all ages. Whether you're 9 or 99, there's something for you to do here at NeverBoard.
Yeah, we really need to appeal more to the geriatric community. I would like that.
Oh, but I find the Thopter Arrest.
Ooh.
That's huge. Okay, so...
He's got
oh, wait.
he's got half my deck.
Oh,
in
wait,
his
no,
jam,
you've got the
so-
Blossoming Defense. I forgot. Again, with the timely Blossoming Defenses.
Yeah. It's good, but is it even enough to save me? That's the question here.
I think you having to use the Blossoming Defense here took it away for the next turn's Alpha Strike to win.
Exactly, because what I could have done is plussed up my my glint sleeve to a 7/7, and then doubled it to 14. But even that wouldn't have been enough.
It wouldn't have been enough, but it would have forced me to get rid of my own flyers. This is a turn where I have to think very, very carefully and do some math and figure out exactly what to do. And I actually make a pretty boneheaded misplay here because I'm going to end up attacking with just the Sky Marcher Aspirant to get the Maverick Fane trigger without realizing that, wait a minute, this Glint's through Siphoner is a menace. That means Cloud Blazer's not going to be able to block it all by itself. I've got a second Thopter Arrest. I can't use it on the Glint Sleeve. So I'm just going to go ahead and take out one of these snakes here. Too little, too late, but...
Yeah. Luckily, the
target.
Blossoming Defense is going to linger hexproof until the end of the turn, which is amazing. Something you got to be real careful about, which I've run into a few times, is when I go to buff up my creature with Blossoming Defense in an offensive way, they can still, on the stack, play a destructive spell and destroy my creature before hexproof activates on the stack. So you got to be real careful with these hexproof timings.
This is how you can tell I'm doing math, because I asked to read the Winged Temple to figure out exactly what it does. And
Okay,
here
well
you
that
show
was
off what it
illegible. I won't do that ever again.
does. That was a bit blurry. I could read it, but if the viewers at home can't read it, it's... let me go ahead and pull up the card on my little app here. Winged Temple of Orazca. 1 green and a blue, tap, target creature you control gains flying, it gets +X until end of turn, where X is its power.
Oh my goodness.
And it also taps to add 1 mana of any color.
It's such a great card. There are times in this deck where on turn 4, you can be coming at them with a 12/12, a Winding Constrictor with flying. Just from those 2 cards alone being in your hand. Bristling Hydra, again, is an amazing target for receiving the benefits of Hadana's Climb because he has the ability to protect himself with his hexproof abilities.
No need for Blossoming Defense. He's got Blossoming Defense built in.
Alright, so he just decides to go for the little peck here, which is a great way to sneak in all the damage necessary.
This was a misplay, though, because if I was going to go ahead and peck you, I should have pecked you with the Cloud Blazer as well, because by herself, Cloud Blazer is not going to be able to block this Glintsleeve Siphoner if it becomes the beneficiary of the Winged Temple's blessing.
Truly.
But here you go ahead and decide not to give the Winged Temple's blessing this turn, just drop this Verter's Gearhulk to load up some more counters.
Just because it wasn't enough. Like, if I swung out with Glint Sleeve there with flying, you just take the damage, say, okay, that's fine, and swing for game next turn.
Yeah, that's why I was doing the math, and that was the risk I was willing to take, because I was just banking that you didn't have some card like Larger Than Life to just go with the old Electrostatic Pummeler plan and load it up to a big enough power for 1 punch.
Yeah. Oh, there is something to be said about how hilarious the Electrostatic Pummeler and Hadana's Climb can interact. Like, if I'm not mistaken, you could probably buff that thing into the triple digits.
Oh, and by the way, we are in overtime here. Time had been called in the round by this point, so Soko's actually taking turn 1 of overtime.
Mm-hmm. But luckily, we're right near the end of the round, and we did start a little late due to the fact that I had to set up our match on stream, so they gave us a little more wiggle room.
And there's the handshake, because I showed him the Chef at Dunes and said, look, man, I've got enough flying to kill you next turn.
Yeah,
and you just tapped your Winged Temple.
It's true.
He's pointing at all the enchantments. The removal enchantments came up very, very big.
Yeah,
in
you
this
had
late
half
game.
my team in, like, in a jail cell somewhere in Kaladesh.
Or Ixalan, as the case may be.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Well, guys, thanks for tuning in. That was an exciting match. Honestly, I had so much fun with this game. It was tense, and it's just a lot nicer to play another creature deck than just going up against control. It's much calculus, much fun, very well. Well, have a great night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and please like, comment, and subscribe for more NeverBoard action.